It's Gloria Greer, and Gloria is producer and hostess of 2 television shows on PBS in Southern California. She's also on 2 of her own shows, another 2 shows on Time Warner Cable, which we all love, Exploring the Arts and Conversations with Gloria Greer. She's interviewed hundreds of celebrities, from Hollywood stars to politicians and everyone in between. A 25-year journalist, former actress, and award winner on several fields. She grew up in a Hollywood family, but is called the Coachella Valley her home for many, many years, and is editor of the social life section of Palm Springs Life magazine. But she's also a mother as well of twin daughters, and when her daughter Norma was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, she used all of her philanthropic and professional skills to found ACT for MS. She is in studio today to talk about this wonderful organization, and Gloria, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Jacqueline. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm so happy that you are here to talk about ACT for MS. It's such an important organization, as so many organizations are, and you're involved with a lot of them. But why don't you tell us how you got this started?
Well, when my daughter was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which, by the way, was a disease I had heard mentioned but had no idea what it was, then she discovered, going to some support groups that the National MS Society had put together, support groups with speakers and so on. And in talking to people, she discovered there were an awful lot of people here in the Valley who had multiple sclerosis and really did not have the funds to keep themselves as well as they could be kept with physical therapy, for example, which is very important. And other needs, which I'll go into. But Norma came to me and said, Mom, you know so many people. Can't you do something to raise funds to help the people who do need help, the very low-income people here in the Valley? And just to tell you, there was one couple later, this is after we were established a while, that we discovered, and the woman had multiple sclerosis. I think her husband had cerebral palsy. They could afford air conditioning in the summer 2 hours.
Oh, dear.
So there it became a question of eating or being comfortable. The worst thing for multiple sclerosis is heat.
Yes.
And one of the many things that the organization now does is to pay for people who of low income who have multiple sclerosis. We pay, we pay the bills to the electric company for them.
Well, that is terrific.
But anyway, so I met with some friends, which were Jackie Lee Houston, Peggy Cravens, Diane Marlin Dirks. There were, I think, 5 of us in the beginning. Lori Sarner, myself, and Norma. And
Penny Mason?
And Penny Mason. Thank you so much. Yeah, Penny was definitely in the beginning.
Right.
And we started first, before we had the organization, we decided we would raise money. So we put on our very first event. That was, I believe, 11 years ago.
That long ago, 11 years. Isn't that wonderful?
And we raised $40,000, which we did not have our 501c3 yet. So that was given to National with the understanding that it would only be used in the Coachella Valley. But then after that, we do have our 501c3. We are providing physical therapy for, will we reach maybe for 75 people, plus their caretakers are given help. We providing some massage now.
Well, yes, and
the air conditioning payment. Our bills are about $300,000. That's our budget.
Yeah,
for care for people
terrific.
with MS here in the Valley. We're doing things that National is not doing.
Right.
National does a great deal with their research and also publications that they put out, but we pay all the costs for the services we provide.
Right, and I think it's important, too, for people to understand that they can go on your website, which is actforms.org. It's a terrific website, and you can see the mission statement, and you've already mentioned a lot of things that are included in that, but I do want to mention some others. There's educational seminars and workshops. You do weekly strength training, exercise, cardiovascular health programs, therapeutic and massage, as you said, getting the right equipment, paying the bills. And I think the most important statement here is that our goal the goal of Act for MS, is a program of quality assistance that makes a meaningful difference to people with MS and their family members. And without Act for MS, they would not have access to any of the unique approaches that we provide. And that is so true. That is so true.
Thank you. It's true. And you know, they say, I mean, I've talked to, we call them the clients, and they say their lives are totally different as a result of Act for MS.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you can't cure the disease. There's no cure yet, but you can live with it with help, and we, you know,
yes,
make life better for them.
And if anyone needs assistance, they can call 760-773-9806 and get information. And if they want to make a donation, they can go online. There's a form. I have it right here in front of me. Is that one of your most important things? If your expenses are $300,000, I would assume that contributions are very welcome.
Well, of course. Without them, we'd be out of business.
That's right.
And not only some very generous individuals and the fundraisers that we do give. You were just at the last one this summer.
That was
fun.
Great fun.
But also, we've been very lucky with grants. And the Desert Health District gave us a very wonderful grant this year and last year. And this is, we're keeping track of a certain amount of people in the program, and the therapists also keep track of how their movement improves, to see that what we are doing is actually making a tremendous difference.
Well, and psychologically, my goodness, if you have an illness, a physical ailment, a disease, anything, and there's nothing here or no one to help them, psychologically, that is a terrible, terrible thing for the individual. So this is an uplifting thing for them as well.
Right, Jacqueline. We found that there were certain people that when they came down with this disease and they couldn't move properly and so on, they stayed home. They didn't want to go out. They didn't want to see anybody. They didn't know how to manage. And that's why we also have these monthly meetings, which we do have with luncheon, which we offer, and then we have speakers, and they get together. And now we have them working at our resource center, which is also where our office is, but on a program, and I forget it has a name, where they can speak to the computer because they can no longer use their hands. And where those who are advanced as far as being able to still communicate, be able to get around, be able to use their muscles, they're working to train others under our help and direction.
Well,
we're getting the clients want to do something to help.
Yes.
And they are. One of our clients, Pam Solomon, put together the flyer that we had for the recent Bill Marks event.
Well, and I want to mention that event because I think it's important that people know that people like Bill Marks and his all-star jazz band come all out for you to help. And as Gloria said, there was a wonderful event recently. You had a wonderful turnout.
Yeah, Mission Hills Country Club.
Mission Hills Country
They
Club.
were wonderful, by the way.
My club. And it was a lot of fun. I was very, very impressed with that. And I want you to mention a couple of other things that you've got coming up.
We have two events coming up. We do have what we call Christmas Tree Lane.
And we all love that.
And we originally announced it for December 5th, but that's also the date of the cerebral palsy, Dennis James. So we changed it. It'll be December 7th. I think we have to have one very patriotic tree.
Yes. And where is it going to be?
That will be at the Renaissance Esmeralda. But the trees will be out right after Thanksgiving. They will be around the staircase as you go into the lobby of the hotel. And those trees, they are named after celebrities, they are themed after celebrities, and we get wonderful gifts to go with the trees. For instance, Barry Manilow, he's been so generous. We get tickets to his show in Las Vegas, and a lot of his CDs go with the tree. The same with, of course, Jack Jones, who is our celebrity host each year, and he's also on our board, as is Bill Marks.
Now,
Andy Williams.
Are these silent auctioned? How do people bid on these
All right.
things?
They're silent auction, and then there is a buy it now bid with the tree. So if someone comes up with the money before we have the live auction and reception, then they can get it ahead of time. Otherwise, we have this wonderful live auction, and Jack Jones is the celebrity host.
And it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, that's on December 7th.
That is on December 7th.
It's going to be at the Renaissance. Now, if people want to get on your mailing list, do they call this telephone number that we mentioned?
Right. And also, I will say here that as far as people attending, we would love them to go and see the trees and bid on them. As far as the reception, we really don't want a lot of people there who are not going to buy trees, who are just there because the hotel is giving us a little wine and so forth.
This is to raise money, people.
Right.
So you can call 760-773-9806. Yeah. And very quickly...
And then we have an event in the spring.
Your spring gala, when is that?
That's going to be April 2nd, and we are calling it A Night at the Opera.
Oh, I love that.
And we're going to have a couple of opera singers, but we're also going to do some fun with Bill Marks.
And Anne is very involved in opera, as I know. I was on board with her on that, so I'm sure she's going to give you a lot of help.
Right. She was going to co-chair. I'm co-chair of it, and she was going to do it with me, but it's right in the middle of the Virginia Waring International Piano Competition.
Which she's involved with.
Very much so. So I don't know how much Anne will do, but she'll certainly be involved a little bit.
Well, yeah, and that's on April 2nd.
And that will also be at the Esmeralda.
At the Esmeralda. The Esmeralda is a great place to have a fundraiser like that.
It's certainly beautiful for our for everything, but our Christmas trees are so beautiful there. It started, this was something that Merv Griffin came up with the idea when he had his hotel. And we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for Merv. So I'm always grateful for Merv.
He was wonderful. And, of course, I think what's important, too, is the fact your life has been involved in entertainment, and you were an actress yourself, and you grew up in a Hollywood family. And so for generations, you've known these people, and thank goodness for all of that. This is a wonderful organization. People will come out and support it, but it does take someone like you who's involved in so many boards and with so many things to get these people there, because they are in demand, but they do come out for you, don't they, Gloria?
They do, and it isn't only me. I mean, there's
but we're
Jack,
talking to you right now.
But I am very lucky that our friends, and I mean, for instance, Jack Jones, I asked him because he had always gone to Christmas Tree Lane when Merv Griffin put it on at his hotel. And so when he sold the hotel, and then later, Merv was no longer doing it, and everyone said, we've got to do it because everybody loves it. And I called Jack and I said, Jack, you've been there every year. Would you be our celebrity host? Because Merv would greet everybody and kind of be an MC before the auction. And Jack
loved
He said, I'd be delighted. Well, after he did it 2 or 3 years and he saw the good we were doing for people with MS, he said, Gloria, I want to be on your board. And so that's how, and we're so grateful to him.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks again. And I'll see you next week, people. Be sure to tune in.